Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. In this interview, we have today Assistant Commandant Bhanu Pratap, who have served in Indian Coast Guard. And in this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining Indian Coast Guard, life within Indian Coast Guard, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service. So thank you, sir, for coming on this interview and welcome.
Thank you very much, Akash. First of all, it's very exciting to come on this platform and go through the entire process.
Yeah. Sir, if you could, start telling us how was your journey before joining the Forge and what motivated you back then to join the Indian Coast Guard?
All right. So, life before forces was, as usual, I would say, because, I belong to a teacher's family. My father is a teacher in Kendriya Vidyalaya. My mother was also a teacher. So, from the childhood days, it was like a very disciplined way of life, I would say. Routine wise, everything was set and, very well organized. And I was basically very career oriented and more focused in studies. As days passed by, when I completed my 10th standard, then I think that was the time when I decided and when I got to understand, that forces is something that I need to join. So I was just, going through a notification of 10 plus 2 entry back then. And I came across that notification and I thought, why not? Let's, join the forces. And I think men in white have always, I've always been inclined towards those uniform in men in white. So that was the time. And back then, those were the times, I think internet was not into, fashion those days as today. So I still have those newspaper cuttings with me, all those notifications. And, so that was the time when I decided I have to be in forces. And life before Forge, I would say I was working in corporates before that as well. And I would say, again, I always started my, career as a security professional. So that particular field and that particular industry requires a lot of discipline. You have to be physically fit and all those factors that are again akin to the forces standards. Mm. So this was the thing when I, again, I started working in corporates. But I think I was not getting, you say that there's a kick you need to get. So that I think I was not getting. And I started my SSB journey, I think back in 2013. Okay. And one SSBs, two SSBs, three SSBs. Then I really don't know when it got to 15 or 16 attempts. So I was working in corporates and that was my last attempt, I guess. And, as they say that der aata hai, durust aata hai. So, finally I got recommended and joined the forces.
Got it, sir. So, because you have gone through multiple SSBs and you finally got recommended for Indian Coast Guard, if you could tell us, how did you prepare for your PSB, which happens in Coast Guard, and the FSB? And probably if you could give us the details also on what did you learn from the previous SSBs and implement it for the aspirants as well.
I would say that most of the SSB, be it SSB, be it FSB, PSB, most of the processes are same. The biggest mistake that we make while attending those, I would say entire processes that we do not pay heed to the assessors. So we go with a preconceived notion over there, and we have already a lot of stories, a lot of that fabricated ourselves in our mind, and that thing we present over there. But you need to understand that SSB is a test of your personality. You do not fabricate, you do not show off, you do not lie over there. Just be as natural as you can. This is what I learned in this journey of 16 SSBs. I think the more natural you are, the more would be good for you. So and the processes are same. The only difference between PSB and FSB and other SSBs are that only that the PSB is different. It is conducted on a different day, and the elimination is itself conducted on the first day. Yeah. So that is the major difference. Otherwise, all those aptitude tests are more or less the same. The only thing that you need is accuracy and speed in PSBs.
Yeah.
And I would say the only success factor is that you need to represent your true self. Don't go fabricated in SSB. That's it.
Got it, sir. So we also hear about, the officer-like qualities. So were you aware about it when you went to all of those SSBs and the PSB and FSB you went to? And now that you have retired as an officer, what do you think about these officer-like qualities? Can this be inculcated and then you go to SSB, or does it get overall, developed over your service period?
So I would say, there are around 15 OLQs.
Yes.
Which are set criteria, and they are like required by the SSB assessors to be fulfilled. But see, we need to understand that these are a set of criteria that develop gradually over a period of time. If you say that I will develop all these 15 qualities overnight, it's not possible, right? Few of the qualities are there which you'll be having by birth. Few qualities you develop while you go to school, while you go to college, while you work somewhere, and few qualities are there which you develop in the training period itself. So it's like a gradual process, I would say. Now let's take the example of communication skills. Now you need to understand that for that, gaining that confidence, you cannot just start speaking in front of the public or anyone overnight. It's a regular practice. It requires I guess 6 to 8 months of time, and it increased gradually, I would say. So these OLQs are basically only the parameters. What you need to focus on is that these OLQs will be developed in the training part. In the academies, they only focus on OLQs. That's it. When you pass out of the academies, you will see a different avatar of yourself, I would say.
Okay.
So these OLQs are basically, rather than focusing on OLQs, focus on what the assessor is saying, focus on the basic parameters, what you need to pay heed over there. So that is the entire success mantra.
Okay, got it, sir. But sir, I have just one more question because I'm myself a repeater. Like we go to one SSP, then you go to the next one. You try introspecting, what happened wrong that time. Probably I didn't do well in this attempt. So I also speak to people who get recommended. I also speak to people who are like retired GTOs or assessors. So you get a lot of inputs. There are a lot of recommended guys who give interviews. So you get a lot of inputs from them. Though everybody will tell you, be natural. But probably either we are, relying on what others are saying, or probably your natural self itself is not having the aptitude to get recommended. So how do we evaluate ourselves or introspect ourselves at that point in time?
What happens is, we generally go with the cooked up stories. Let's take the example of psychological tests.
Yeah.
So, what we'll do is we'll talk to one candidate who got recommended. We'll talk to another candidate who got recommended. Then we will start thinking on their personalities line. We forget that what we have to present over there, that is the test. It's a personality test. We need to understand that thing first. Now, what happens is, for example, there's a word. Word association test is there. There are a set of words that are projected on the screen. Now, you will write those words that you have heard from other candidates. That is word ka main ye sentence banata hu, right? But no, it's not the game, my friend. You need to understand that whatever comes to your mind first, and that is what the assessors also say, that it's a projection of your personality, not others, right?
Yes, that's
so. That is the, I think, the figure that will define and differentiate you from the others. And if it's not the end of the story, it did not get recommended in SSBs. It doesn't end up there itself. I'm telling you, after attending, 14 to 15 SSBs, I have seen a major change in myself. When I started giving the interviews in the corporate world as well, it was a major difference. The confidence level, the amount of knowledge that I used to put up in front of them, the hard work that I used to do was something that only came from attending those journeys and going through that journey. So that is the only case.
Got it, sir. So if you could, also picture it for us, once you get recommended, then your medical happens and you get into the merit list. Post that, how does training for Indian Coast Guard look like? If you could tell us about that.
The training of the Indian Coast Guard officers is conducted in the Indian Naval Academy itself, and along with the naval officers. So majorly all the trainings and the courses are conducted in the naval establishment itself. I think one or two training establishments are there which are specific to Coast Guard, and where they undergo specific trainings pertaining to maritime laws and Coast Guard specific material. So more or less the training is same and akin to all the naval counterparts. We go through a 6 months of basic training that is conducted in Indian Naval Academy. Then we go to the first training squadron, and then depending on what branch you have opted for, you go to various naval establishments.
Okay.
So that is the entire story of Coast Guard and naval officers.
Okay. So if you could narrate any incident that you have from the academy life. I also know the tenure of your training in the academy is actually 6 months, while for Navy, even for short service, it's actually 1 year. So what happens in that time, and any memories that you would like to share from your experience in the academy?
So there are basically different courses. Different courses go through the different tenure in the academy. Like 6 months is there, 1 year is there, then 4-year courses are there. So I think academy training is something that will remain with you till your lifetime. There's a saying that you can take a man out of military, but you cannot take military out of a man. So that is something that will remain with you till your last breath. Now, coming to academy training, to be honest, you do not have time in academy. You always keep on running. There you get to understand the value of each second. Value of camaraderie, value of time, and value of never giving up, value of studies, value of physical activities. So everything is like packed, and your day starts at 5:30 in the morning, and it never ends, to be honest. So you're always undergoing training. You are always under the supervision of your seniors. They teach you how to conduct yourself, how to develop, especially those OLQs, how to do the drills, and how to manage the entire time, and whatever the training parts are there.
Okay.
So academy is something that will mold you into a person that when you pass out of the academy, you're a different person altogether.
Got it. Sir, I have one more question regarding Indian Coast Guard. So just like in Navy, we have multiple branches, like for executive, for tech, and for aviation. All of those are there. Similarly, for Indian Coast Guard, how does the selection happen? You will go into this branch, because I have seen notification of flying coming separately for Indian Coast Guard. So how does that selection happens once you in the academy and from there?
So it depends. For example, if it is a general duty notification and you're applied in the DAT cadre, you will be joining the general duty cadre. For example, if you are opted for aviation, and that is something that you can opt even after joining the academy, even after attending courses. Okay. So basically, there are different branches. Again, if you talk about the technical entry, you go through the technical entry. Their training is common, but again, the establishments differ. Okay. So depending on those entries, you go through the different set of training and training establishments.
Okay, got it, sir. So, sir, after you were trained at the Naval Academy, so how did your training look like after that?
Post the basic military training at INA, we all get trained in 1TS, that is one training squadron. Okay. And that is complete onboard training. Onboard ships we are trained, and we are taught about basic, I would say, elements pertaining to ships and navigation, everything related to ships. And post that, we go to different schools. Those are naval establishments. For example, for communication, we go to communication school, then navigation school, we go to gunnery school. So again, depending on various courses, we go through different establishments. And then, once we are done with the entire training of, I guess, it's about 1.5 years, then we are posted on different ships.
Okay. So since you are a Coast Guard officer, how was your first experience when you went into a ship, and the kind of experience that you had in the sea?
So I would say the first onboard experience was amazing. We went along with our entire course. So at that point of time, the ship was not sailing, I would say.
Okay.
And once it cast off, and once it is out in the sea, then you get to understand what the marine life is. Okay. As the ship starts rolling and pitching, and those who are not seasick, they will enjoy the journey. But those who are seasick, I'll tell you what they go through. the first attempt and the first experience of sailing is like you go through hell. So you start puking over there, your world will topple upside down, and you will see stars in the daylight. So, but it gets improved with the passage of time. You start sailing, you keep on sailing, and that is something that you have to adjust. So that was my first experience. I was also seasick, so it was an amazing journey, I would say.
Got it, sir. So I have one more question. Like, how does one ideal day look like for you in terms of routine, responsibility, and role as a Coast Guard officer? How does it look like?
So I would say that a Coast Guard officer has multiple roles on board ships. So sometimes you get to carry out the specific duties. For example, if you are the navigating officer on board, you will carry out the NO's duty. But if you have multiple roles, for example, multiple appointments, you are the navigating officer, you are the logistics officer as well. You are given the gunnery officer's role as well. So again, it's like a multiple set of responsibilities. So the day starts again with the 5:30 in the morning, going for PT, taking out your men for physical fitness sessions, and the day starts at 8. Then there are different routines on board ships, like normal routine is there, Sunday routine is there, and modified routine is there. So basically different routines are there. So entire time, either if we are on board ships, we maintain those ships and we carry out the basic duties on shore. And once we are out at the sea, then our prime job becomes sailing and safeguarding the ocean.
Got it, sir. So since you have served in the Indian Coast Guard, if I can ask you, any 3 life lessons that you have learned which you still cherish and use in your civil world currently?
So I would say 3 lessons that I have learned from Indian Coast Guard is, first thing is that less is more. Once you get to experience the life on board ships, you will start realizing that you do not require many things in life. You can live a life with a minimalistic approach. A 6x3 bunk, a small cabin wherein you two, I think, a personnel can adjust. And when you go and see the bunks in a cabin, there are 6 people who are adjusting on bunks. Single bunks are provided to them. So that is something that teaches you that you can adjust with less. You need not go with fancy things and materialistic things. Second thing I would say is never giving up attitude. As I told you that people who are seasick on board, they as soon as the sailing starts, they go through a lot of seasick problem. So they start puking, but they have to perform the duties. Being an officer, when you are in front of your men, though you might be seasick, but you have to perform your duties. You might be feeling a lot of pain in the stomach, you might be puking, you might have got out of energy, but you have to perform your duties and stand in front of them. And the third lesson that I would say is the liveliness. I think every officer you interact with, he will be very lively. He'll have multiple stories, he'll have multiple experiences, life experiences, and whenever you talk to them, you will experience something and you will learn something from them. So these are the 3 lessons that I learned from Indian Coast Guard.
Got it, sir. So I have been to the process of the selections of PSB and FSB. I've heard a lot of stories that you also do a lot of exercises with the other countries. So did you also have those opportunities going to other countries for any kind of exercise with them?
That's right. See, so Coast Guard is basically keeps on conducting exercise with different Coast Guards of different countries.
Yes.
So there was a time when we were in Chennai, and there was Japan Coast Guard. So we conducted a joint exercise with them. So what happens is we need to understand their ships, and they also visit our ships on board. They understand each other better. So everything is like we understand and we learn from each other's experiences. So I was once I was on board a Sri Lankan ship. So the Sri Lankan Coast Guard ship was like they were having a different kind of setup. So whenever you visit and conduct exercises with different nations and different Coast Guards, so you need to understand, you get to understand and various experiences. So those things are like, you can imbibe whatever you have learned, they can imbibe whatever they have learned from yours.
Okay, got it, sir. So my next question is, once you come out of Indian Coast Guard, so as an officer, I think the concept of short service and permanent exists there as well. So what are the various opportunities does officer get once they come out of the forces?
So I would say, post retirement and once you are out of the forces, the opportunities are ample. It's a huge set of opportunities available for you. I would say you can go into any field, though the corporate landscape is a bit different. The approach here is different, but all the lessons that you have learned from the forces, the person you have been molded into, that will help you in any kind of situation. Though the people here are different, corporates may, you need to understand that the men you are dealing with, the people you are dealing with are different. They will not be like apne order de diya and they will simply execute. So you need to understand that thing. Networking is important, visibility is important. There are many other factors, but those lessons, those never giving up attitude, and I would say that quick decision making, and I would say all the OLQs, that will help you out a lot in managing the corporate world. And there are many personalities who are doing very well in the corporate world who are out of the forces, I would say.
Yes, that's correct, sir. So if I can, ask you, how do you look at, the leadership and how armed forces have helped you develop those skills?
I would say, prior to joining forces, I was living a very ordinary life, no challenges, nothing. But when I joined the forces, there were ample opportunities, there were ample challenges. Every day seems to be a challenge. Once you are there with your men, the responsibilities, the onus of their lives lies on you. So whatever decision you make, whatever orders you pass, you have to be very careful. One single mistake and it can create havoc over there. So I would say whenever you are doing watches on board ships, so when you are doing watches in the night time, so for example, you are the in charge of the ship, your orders will be executed. You are guiding the ship, you are sailing it through, and your single order can either make or destroy the ship. Simple. So that thing is what teaches you, what a leader can learn when you are out of the forces.
Got it, sir. So since a lot of aspirants will be watching this video, so what will be your message to all those aspirants who want to join the forces?
Few lessons that I would like to tell every aspirant who is trying to join the forces. First thing is that the day you decide to join the forces, be it leave the selection is a different part. Whether you make it, whether you do not make it, it's a separate story. The journey, you go through the SSBs, you attend that entire 5-day process, you attend one SSBs, 2, 3, and number of SSBs. It will teach you a lot. And it will not only help you in your personal life, it will also help you in your professional growth. Point number 1, never give up. Keep attending. And you have seen people attending and going for 15 SSBs, 16. I have seen 22 SSBs, 30 SSBs. There are many things. So keep going ahead. One day you'll definitely get the success. Second thing I would say, it would be wise if you have a plan B. Just do not think that and do not start preparing for only SSBs. I made a mistake then that I was only preparing for SSB, I was only preparing for forces. I did not have anything in my hand at that point of time. So once you start working on a plan B, or for example, if you start working somewhere, that will help you in subliming your fears. So once those fear has been sublimed, you will be able to project yourself with a greater confidence in SSBs. So that is the second lesson. And third is like again, never give up. That is the end. So keep going ahead. One day you'll definitely get the success.
Thanks a lot, sir, for all the inputs that you have given from your end. Also about the life, how it looks in the Indian Coast Guard. I hope a lot of people who will be watching us will get a little more perspective, because I feel there are very less videos where a veteran from the Coast Guard has come up and said, this is how it looks like. So thanks a lot for doing that, sir. And I hope a lot of people will get, information about the Coast Guard through this. Thanks again, sir, for this session. Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you. Jai Hind.